I'm here to stay. Make a good lucha thing.
See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal. So you got a 25% at best at beating me. And then you add Kurt Angle to the mix, your chances of winning drastically go down.
This is such good shit.
It's time for the Ringsiders Podcast.
Baloney, fudge, and mustard! My life is being ruined by the internet!
Welcome into the second episode of Ringsiders, which the name could be changed at some point. We are not sure, but we are all here ready to talk a little wrestling. And we have our cast of Carnival. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Our three other people that join me in this podcast. We have Billy Snyder. Billy, how you doing?
Good, man. I think we should go with Cavalcade of Jabronis. I kind of like that.
I like that. See, though, that's what I was trying to think. Cavalcade of Jabronis. But yeah. Billy Snyder is here. Also joining us, as always, Dante Smith. Dante, what's up?
What's up? Or you can call us a cornucopia of Marks. So we got
cornucopia of Marks. That's a good one.
I like that. I like both of them. And last, but certainly not least, Neil Lommel. Neil, what's going on?
I'm doing good. I'm just trying to think of another name for our group that starts with a C, something of M, a crew of Misfits.
True.
I came to play.
Misfits with a Z?
Yes.
Okay. It's
Came
always.
to play.
Yeah.
And there's a price to pay.
There is a price to pay. We all know that. So we have a jam-packed episode for you guys. Going to talk a little Raw, AEW, a little NXT, but the main focus of the show will be about the horror show. Spooky. At Extreme Rules, which Dante already said last week, if you remember from last week, we will also have the last shot, that it will be the best pay-per-view of 2020.
I said it.
You did
say my statement.
First, we're going to talk a little Raw. Kevin Owens took on Seth Rollins in a WrestleMania rematch. I thought it was just okay. What are you guys' thoughts?
It was a fine match, but it was a good match to set up Seth Rollins for Extreme Rules because Kevin Owens got the win, and it made Seth Rollins look like Seth Rollins is in shambles right now. So I think it was a good look for Kevin Owens, and now Seth Rollins is down on his luck, just sad going into Extreme Rules.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was an okay match. Definitely wasn't anywhere as good as their WrestleMania match by any means. Sets up Seth Rollins for WrestleMania in an eye for an eye match, which I have no idea where that's going.
Extreme Rules.
Yeah, at Extreme Rules, an eye for an eye match. How are they going to get out of that corner? But we'll talk about that a little bit. Anything more on Owens versus Rollins, or should we move on?
Yeah. I mean, it was good to see Kevin Owens on the show. I know he's been off and on Raw the last couple of weeks. It's just nice to see that he still has a direction and they're still looking at him as a top star. A win over Seth Rollins, no matter what it means, is important. So it's nice to see Kevin Owens kind of get around. But it's pretty much like Neil said, this is kind of a means to get to an end. This was really a setup for Seth Rollins and Mysterio to go for their eye for an eye match on Sunday. But a good match nonetheless. Just nice to see good long matches on Raw for once.
Yeah, it was nice. And you had the story before that going in with you had Buddy versus what's his name? Aleister Black. So you kind of had that going as well. Another thing I wanted to talk about Raw is Shayna Baszler's back.
Yes. Thank you, God. Oh, man. I have been just begging for her to just tear up through the women's division because she's such a powerful force, such a commanding force, and I think that if you build it right, give it some time, her and Asuka are a main event match. And if you want to get even crazier with it, throw them in a steel cage. You want to see it. You know you want to see it. It's going to be violent. It's going to be just absolutely wonderful. That would be my next step for Shayna Baszler after maybe SummerSlam. Maybe SummerSlam would be kind of a good time because Asuka won the belt of Money in the Bank. So I don't know. That would be like as long as we can see her dominate on a consistent basis and let creative let creator give her a shot to show what she can do. Why she was NXT Women's Champion for God knows how long, for a long time. If that happens, we're good to go, and we'll have a dominant force in the women's division and a true legit draw, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah, Shayna Baszler, great to see her back. And an interesting way how they brought her back. They kind of had brought her back beating up some of the men. So shows that she can go the extra mile on that.
Yeah, I mean Shayna's a spectacle. She is a legit shoot fighter. So she knows how to really work the holds, and I think that's something you need to do. She needs to really look different. She has this Brock Lesnar kind of appeal to her, where everything she does in the ring is real and it looks legitimate and it looks like it hurts. And I think Billy's right. A money feud would be her and Asuka. I think Shayna and Charlotte is something else that Vince won't be able to help himself with. But to me, I think it's a huge boost to the women's roster regardless. I think Shayna coming back and Bianca Belair coming back this week too, another huge thing for the women's roster, because it's a little empty right now outside of Asuka and Bayley and Sasha doing triple work. So it's good to see the Raw roster kind of get some reinforcement.
I am such a big fan of Bianca Belair too. I mean,
so much upside.
So much upside, just incredibly unique, something just so fresh and different. It's something that commands their attention as soon as she enters the building. And when I saw her debut at the Royal Rumble, just chef's kiss. Like, it was just perfect. Just absolutely perfect. And I'm hoping for big things out of Bianca Belair.
I mean, she is the EST of WWE, whatever that means. But I think it means like she's the greatest and like bestest.
Yeah, she's the fastest, the strongest, the smartest. I think that's what her thing was.
And she keeps it running out the top as bestest. Who gets that reference?
Could probably tear me limb from limb, like with one hand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say that's true with a lot of wrestlers. So we'll talk a little more Raw when we go to the horror show, but we'll move on to AEW now. In the main event, Jon Moxley beats Brian Cage. No surprise there.
Nope. But what I did think was surprising about this match was the finish. I don't know if you guys were able to see the finish. We were talking about it a little bit last week. How does Brian Cage lose this match but still kind of look good? This is one way to do it, but I'm not sure if it worked exactly like they thought it would. Taz threw in the towel for Brian Cage. He was in an armbar for probably, it seemed like 10 minutes. I mean, yeah. Cage was in the armbar for a long time, and Taz finally threw in the towel. So Cage did not quit. So I think that's his first loss in AEW, I believe. But he still has not, on his own, lost a match. And I did like the way they did have to explain it, how, Taz is protecting his investment, which it actually is a good move, because I'm sure Brian Cage will have world title opportunities down the line.
Yeah, and I think you just kind of talked yourself out of it, Neil. I mean, it was the flat truth in the kayfabe sense is this: if Taz does not throw in that towel, Brian Cage's biceps get ripped clean off, right? So because obviously Jon Moxley's not letting go of that armbar, so I think it was really well done. I liked the match. It was nice and kind of to the point. Saw a lot of great moves, and really it showed Jon Moxley. It wasn't just kind of like the basic match structure where the face comes in, starts hot, the heel gets the cut off, does let up punishment, baby face come back, win. It was both of them just trading shots back and forth. It felt like a title fight. It felt like a title match.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what you guys have said so far. I mean, I agree with your point, Neil. I think the most important thing, and something I'd like to see more wrestling companies do, is really take that commentary team and kind of emphasize why something happened. And you said it. They took a good amount of time to kind of be like, well, Taz needs to throw in the towel because Brian Cage is coming back from that biceps tear. He needs to rehab. He can't afford this injury. It made complete sense. So in that way, it kind of got them out of the corner that they were in. I think another thing I take away from this is the fact that what the end of the show ultimately did was shut up Darby Allin Darby Allin to come back and really set up that feud with Brian Cage for, I'm assuming, All Out, which is
going to be a crazy match. I don't even know what that's going to look like. And Darby Allin is just going to pull out all the stops and do something
kill himself.
Absolutely insane. That guy is nuts.
I'd go TLC match for the FCW title, honestly.
Yeah. I would like to see that. And if there's anyone who also kind of fits the mold of fighting for the FTW title, I mean, Darby Allin kind of fits that mold too. So I think it's a perfect setup. It's a perfect match. I'm excited for it.
So one question about Darby Allin. Is it supposed to be Darby all in? Or is it Allin? Because it's Allin. Isn't it usually an En?
It's Allin.
It's Allin.
Okay, so it's not all in.
I don't know what that's for. I think it's just a coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Why would they not
a
use
damn
an
good one that they have not marketed yet.
That's
Yep.
true. That's true. Anything else from
Shame, Elite, shame.
Yeah. Anything else from AEW this week? Cody beats Sonny Kiss to retain the TNT Championship. Any thoughts on that match?
I'm just going to reiterate what I said last week. Hell yes to Sonny Kiss. Hell yes to Cody Rhodes. And hell yes to that match. That was so good. And I really liked kind of the beginning where Cody's just kind of messing around and Arn literally pulls him by the neck and said, "Get your head out of your ass." That was super cool. And I think really Cody started, showboating and hot dogging a little too much like there at the beginning. And then just seeing Sonny's devastating like offense, like those discus elbows, the way that Sonny uses his legs to just absolutely murder an opponent. I loved it. And it was a really good one. And I'm excited to see who they put in that spotlight next for that TNT Open Challenge. Because this really got those John Cena Open Challenge vibes, the later ones, where you're getting new talent come in. They don't necessarily win, but they get over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I agree with what you're saying, Billy, but it even takes that John Cena aspect, it takes it a step further. Each match feels like it's its own story and has its own thing going on. Whereas before with like the Cena, it's kind of like sometimes you know what the match is going to be, you know what the finish is from the gate, and the excitement is who's going to come out and what the finish is going to be. But with Cody's matches, they feel more organic and feel like there's an actual long winding story. I don't know where it leads to. I don't know who he's going to fight it all out, but it's interesting week to week. And I think that's the point.
Definitely. And kind of like you said, how every match feels like its own story. Cody's mentality in each match is always different. Like this last match with Sonny, we have not really seen Cody act like that in a long time, where he's arguing with the ref, doing like some dirty Alabama slam on the outside of the ring. So I'm interested to see going forward what happens with the TNT title.
Yeah, should be interesting going forward. Should be fun. AEW is always fun. But we should move forward here to NXT. As the two are kind of fighting against each other, AEW and NXT, always trying to one-up each other. I think that's something that SmackDown and Raw are really missing, just a competitor to really push it to the next level. But we had Io Shirai take down Tegan Nox to retain the NXT women's title, and then she was attacked by Dakota Kai after the match. I mean, we're in pretty good hands here with Io Shirai as women's champion, I would say.
Oh, yeah. And Tegan Nox also as the number one contender last night, and now we got Dakota Kai. The NXT women's division is constantly creating new stars. I mean, 6 months ago, where was Io Shirai? I mean, now she's the champion and she's on top. She is a star on that show. And now you see Dakota Kai coming up after her, Tegan Nox now. Shotzi Black had a match last night. She's coming up. It's exciting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're the most stacked and I'd say the most complete division in all of wrestling. When you look at just like a month ago, they lost two cornerstones in both Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair. And for them to kind of not just cover it up, but to cover it up completely. Now there's again, Shotzi Blackheart, like you said, Dakota Kai is coming up, Tegan Nox, but not to mention you still build Rhea Ripley as this massive star at the beginning of the year who, I mean, eventually her and Io have to have a showdown. So, I mean, there's so much in the cupboard for Triple H and that staff to use in that women's division. It's insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Io Shirai definitely great. Tegan Knox great. Dakota Kai great. Just great all around is the NXT women's division. But of course, we got to talk about the men's division as well. Keith Lee, I guess he kind of creates his own challenge and takes on Dominik Dijakovic. And, of course, he gets the victory. I mean, who didn't see that coming? But, yeah, a good match between the two, and Keith Lee's reign is off to a good start.
I like everyone and their mom knows that Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic have great chemistry together. They have great classic matches. But, oh, my God, please, dear God, do not beat this. Do not beat this into the ground. We've seen it on Raw. We've seen it on SmackDown. Just pummeling these feuds into the ground. Just, oh, these two guys have great chemistry. Great. Let's have them on every week doing the same match, right? Doing the same thing. You can only pull out so many stops, and it's not because the wrestlers aren't talented, but you can. I would love to see that. I like to watch Keith Lee versus Dominik Dijakovic. The 10th time in 10 weeks. We've seen this before, right? So I'm really hoping that they. Yeah, right. Cena and Orton, exactly. So I'm really, really hoping that they get this right, because I want to see Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic fight again for the NXT title, but just not right the second, and don't beat me to death with it, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, definitely agree with you, Billy. I mean, with what they're doing, it doesn't look like they're gonna lean too deep into this. I mean, it looks like Karrion Kross is quickly gonna get in, and it looks like it was announced too that Karrion Kross and Dijakovic have a match next week. So I'm guessing that's the send off for Dijakovic before he heads to Raw or SmackDown or main event, wherever they send people these days. But I don't know. I'm excited for what NXT has to offer. I think it was good to have Dijakovic be Keith Lee's first match champion, just because of that natural chemistry. And it's kind of the easy way up right there. So I love the match. They've never had a bad match. They probably won't ever have a bad match. So smart move on my part. I get it though. You can't blow this too many times and kind of go to the well too many times with this kind of thing.
Well, if it's anything like the WWE main roster, they can and they will.
Whatever gets some butts and seats, brother.
All right, now we're going to move on to the main event of the evening, the horror show of the Extreme Rules Horror Show. And Dante thinks it's going to be the best show of 2020. So, Dante, why is it going to be the best show of this year?
Let me explain why. And why is a very convoluted reason. I look at the card itself. And when you really look at the card, you take all the gimmicks out of it, and they're matches you'd normally want to see. And then you look at the Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio eye for an eye match. If I would have told you 1 year ago that Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio were to have a match, would we not call it a dream match? We would. Now, here's the thing. We look at this eye for an eye gimmick, and we look at it as the kiss of death. It's going to be corny. It's going to be ugly. There's no way it can be good. But when was the last time during all these WWE cinematic shenanigans have we truly hated what we saw? As goofy as they all seem to be set up to be, when was the last time we truly hated what we saw?
That's true.
Even when you look at it, I think the Undertaker AJ match is the perfect indicator for what we're going to see on Sunday. That match had all the right to be an awful train wreck, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful match. And I think we're going to see the same thing at the horror show. I think when you look at WrestleMania weekend, we loved Bray Wyatt doing his thing with John Cena. Guess what? We have a sequel. And not just a sequel. We have a sequel with another guy he has a lot of history with, and another guy willing to put his character on the line in Braun Strowman for a guy he really actually likes in Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt has the ability to make this something special. I believe he will. Dolph Ziggler is one of the best in-ring performers in the company. So is Drew McIntyre right now on top of his game. They're going to put together a solid match. Asuka and Sasha, that writes itself. I just think when you look at the card as a whole, if you take the horror show out of it, and you put, say, I don't know, a title like SummerSlam, and you took the eye for an eye thing out, I don't think we'd be that mad. And I think by the end of the show, we're going to trust Vince just a hair more next week. Just a hair more. Not a lot, just a hair more.
Well, let's start with the match you did mention. The United States title, Apollo Crews taking on MVP. MVP has a different version of the belt. What are you guys looking forward to in this match?
I'm looking forward to Apollo Crews winning the match and taking that belt from MVP. And I guess, actually, will MVP win the match? He might. They might give him another United States Championship run.
I would like to see him have another run, and we'll do predictions in a little bit. But Dante, Billy, what do you guys think?
It's fun, and as great as MVP has been, this is and really I'm just gonna get on my prediction right now. It makes the most sense right now to let the babyface have that new belt to kind of give it the big transition in. But honest to God, if he wins that belt, he makes it feel great, and then MVP beats him with a roll-up next week, the next day on Monday Night Raw, I'm not going to be too mad about it. But I just like the fact that, not only is MVP on fire, we get to see Apollo Crews do awesome things. Because it's been ever since because I was there for his debut, ever since he's been brought up to the roster, he's just been given jack shit. Yeah. And now he has something to work with, and it's dope as hell. And I love it.
Yeah, he's just been a smiling face on the roster that can do a moonsault. But Dante, your thoughts on the match?
I mean, it sets up some potential for some intrigue. I think that if MVP does win the title on Sunday, it's going to be because someone joins his little faction he's trying to build here. I think that's the only intrigue in this match for me. I could see a scenario where somehow Apollo Crews joins them. I don't know if there's a finger poke of doom spot coming here or not, but I think that's interesting to me enough. I know they've been teasing Cedric Alexander and Ricochet joining those guys and a bunch of other people. I personally would like to see MVP's group grow a little larger. And if that means MVP leaves with the U.S. title, so be it.
Even at the expense of Apollo Crews?
I'm willing to sacrifice Apollo Crews for a better storyline, yes.
Well, we all know WWE
and it gives him an opportunity to chase.
We all know that WWE is willing to sacrifice Apollo Crews as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat.
Track record of it.
Yeah.
True.
So we'll go with predictions. I'm going to go with, I think you got to keep it on Apollo Crews, kind of build him a little bit and give him a big win over an established veteran. Neil, did you give your prediction? I can't remember.
No, I did not, but I am going to go with MVP for this match.
Billy, what's your prediction for the match? Did you give one? I can't remember.
Yes, I got Apollo Crews, baby.
Dante,
he's gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
Like I said, if he gets rolled up by MVP tomorrow, the next day, so be it. But Apollo Crews got to get that new, gorgeous U.S. title belt.
Dante,
I'm going to take MVP via heel shenanigans from his new faction that's going to get bigger. I don't know who's joining it, but someone will be.
All right, so we are split 2-2 on that one, and we are going into the weirdest match on the card, the eye for an eye match, Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. Neil, your thoughts?
Well, I think the main thing people are concerned about is how is this match going to end? And I'm honestly looking for WWE to literally show someone's eye getting pulled out. Not actually, but like they'll actually shoot it like, oh my God, somebody lost their eyeball, and have Michael Cole sell it on TV. I really hope that's what happens. But for this match, it's actually tough, because if Mysterio loses, I mean, he's blind. Because he's already down to one eye. Is this going to be Rey Mysterio's retirement match? I don't think so, but I'm gonna go Mysterio.
Okay, so Seth Rollins will have one eye by the end. I feel like they got to bring
An
up
eye
the
patch.
they got to bring out the quote from Christmas Story. You'll poke your is that a Christmas Story? The you'll poke your eye out thing.
You'll shoot your eye out.
You'll shoot
kid.
your eye out. Yeah, I think they got to incorporate that some way. Dante, your thoughts on the eye for an eye match and how you think they're going to pull this off?
So I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I did see on Raw a little bit. One thing that I kind of appreciated was it was brought up a couple of times on Raw this past week by Rollins, I think even by Kevin Owens, the fact that, yes, this match is actually going to end with someone's eye being pulled out. And that's kind of weird, isn't it? With like the common sentiment between Seth Rollins and Owens. I think there's a story being told with Mysterio being obsessed with revenge, trying to get even. I personally would like to see it end with Dominic Mysterio betraying his father, blinding him on Sunday. That's what I would love to see. I think there's a shot for it. So I'm going to go with Rollins because the heel never goes blind. That's just the rule. I'm going to go with Seth Rollins getting the win, and I'm going to even say bolder. Dominic Mysterio will blind his own father.
Wow, the ultimate betrayal. The ultimate betrayal. It would be that would be huge. And imagine blinding your own dad. Think about your own dad. Imagine blinding him. You only have one eye left.
Rollins? Maybe.
Billy.
So I'm gonna go for the opposite. I'm gonna have Dominic helping Ray win the match against Seth Rollins. Basically, I don't have any good reason other than I think Seth Rollins would look really badass with an eye patch.
he can do a pirate gimmick. He can bring back
right, yeah. So and on that too, you can use this Monday Night Messiah thing. You'd be like, "Oh well, I'm healed now," or you can just if you have a villain that looks really menacing, I think it can work. I don't know how they're supposed to bring this eye back via kayfabe. Maybe they plug an eye surgeon or something ridiculous like that. But I think that it would make more sense for Seth Rollins to be rocking an eye patch for a while over Rey Mysterio. I storyline wise, this could go either way. So I just have to go with my kind of big gut and just say that Rey Mysterio will win and Seth Rollins will have a badass eye patch.
Here's a crazy idea. So Kairi Sane is still on the roster, right? So bring back her pirate princess gimmick, and then Seth Rollins can be the prince, the prince of the pirates, and then they can do a whole thing when Becky comes back. Well, we're already in this thing, and then they break them up like they did with Lana and Rusev, and then there's a whole thing between there. I don't know. It's just a suggestion, but my pick.
Yes.
My pick is going to be, I think Seth Rollins is going to come on top on this one. I think there's more to gain for him. I think that Rey Mysterio kind of speaks for himself. And yeah, like Dante was saying, I could see his son coming out and helping him. By the way, when's his son just going to join the ranks and just start wrestling?
It's got to be any day now. I mean, he's already been getting his hands on people in the ring. He already did a 619 to Brock Lesnar, didn't he?
He did, yes.
Yeah.
He just gets to skip NXT, go right up to the main roster.
Now,
I imagine what they would do is they would give him some tag matches with his dad, which is why I think I'm going with Rey Mysterio on this one, against workers that are reliable, which is pretty much everyone in the company at this point. I mean, you're in the big show. You better be reliable, otherwise you're not going to be there for a while. And I don't mean to derail this too bad, but if you were going for an even crazier idea, if he was alive, God rest his soul, but if he was alive, I know for a fact that Vader would pop up at the end of this match and say eye for an eye and laugh maniacally because he has actually lost an eye in a wrestling match. And I wish it were possible, but it's not, because the legend is not here with us. But I wish he was, because that would be so badass.
That
I
would
thought
be.
you were going to say Eddie Guerrero.
I thought so too.
Shades of SummerSlam 2005.
Oh no.
Dominic's Revenge.
No. We don't talk about that.
God damn it, Vicky!
Look, I will say this, and again, don't mean to derail us too far. That match is the damnedest thing I've ever seen, and it is good. And I'll defend that till the day. It is a good match with a stupid stipulation that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, but it's wrestling. So, like, what are you gonna do? That match is good. Besides Vicky Guerrero missing her cue.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the match. I thought that was hilarious. So we all have our predictions in, and let's move on to the Raw Women's title between Asuka and Sasha Banks. And let's start with Neil on this one.
You know what? I'm gonna. My gut tells me Asuka retains, but my head tells me you need to put that Raw Women's Championship on Sasha Banks, so that Bayley and Sasha are both Bayley dose straps and Sasha dose straps, and those two are an interesting story. I feel like they don't really like each other that much, but it seems like they do right now. But both of them as double champs would be quite the sight to see. So I'm gonna pick Sasha.
You're gonna go with Sasha? Oh wow, that's out of left field right there, Dante.
I almost want to go with where Neil's going, because a lot of what he says makes sense. To me, though, when I look at the whole, to me, the only real long-form storyline that WWE has going on in the main roster is Sasha and Bayley, which is stunning when you really think about it, but it is. I think with SummerSlam right around the corner, I think you feel the pressure to kind of make that payoff match happen. I think Sasha and Bayley happens at SummerSlam, but if it doesn't, and if they're trying to wait for real fans to get back in the crowd, I say the right move then would be put Sasha as Raw Women's Champion, just to kind of steady the boat while Charlotte's out, while Becky's out, while Asuka's just hanging out. So, for the purpose of the pick, though, I'm going to keep it with Asuka, assuming Charlotte comes back.
You flaked. You wanted to pick Sasha.
I did too.
I think they might save that match for next WrestleMania. That would be crazy.
Could see it.
Yeah,
I could see it.
SummerSlam seems a little quick, but
yeah,
get that at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
next
and
year.
that was going to be my point too. I think you got to build that matchup, and I think you keep the belt on Asuka. Really, I mean, Asuka's barely had the belt for. I mean, she's had it since the night after Money in the Bank, so she really hasn't had the belt for that long. And I think you can build between Sasha and Bayley, because that would be really quick to build a feud where they're friends, they both have a belt, and then they just go, oh, okay, we're fighting against each other. So I think you can have the longer term storyline. But Billy, what are your thoughts?
So I'm gonna go a little bit in the opposite direction. I would have Asuka win by disqualification. I would have Bayley either on accident or on purpose get Sasha disqualified, or have Sasha go over by a disqualification. So I don't think that the title is going to change hands, because what I think that this story has been doing is, they build up and you think this is the breaking point for sure. Now they're going to break up. Now Sasha and Bayley are going to break up, but then they pull it back. Then they get really big again, and then they pull it back. Then they get really big again, and they pull it back. A lot of peaks and valleys with this, and I think they're going to keep that, because I think it builds some great tension to where Sasha's like, okay, cool, I'm cool, I'm good. And then, maybe she costs her down the line when we have the big payoff, either at SummerSlam or, it's got to be a big four, right? Like, it's got to be a big four. So I'm going to go with
SummerSlam or Mania.
I'm going to go with a disqualification win for Asuka.
Okay, so Asuka wins. So probably maybe Bayley cost Sasha the match or something like that?
Right, yeah. So I'm going to go with Asuka winning, because I could need to see Bayley accidentally costing her the match or getting her disqualified.
Yeah, I could see that. So all of our predictions are in on that one.
Gabe, you said Asuka, right?
Yes. I believe that Asuka will win. I don't think it's time for Sasha to win a belt yet. I mean, not win a belt, but I don't think it's the right time for her to win in this scenario. So we're going to New Orleans next. We're going to the Swamp. It's a Wyatt Swamp fight between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. And this could be a real cinematic experience.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about it? I guess I'll kind of kick this one off here. I just need to reiterate, and we can take this off of the podcast. Is this for the Universal title?
No, it is not.
Non-title.
I
No.
don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Braun versus Bray. Swamp family Bray.
Well, this is a non-title match, and it's tough because at that point you could say, "Oh, it's on title, Bray Wyatt, easy, right?" But statistically speaking, Bray Wyatt is 1-1 when he's not the Fiend, and I am concerned with having Braun Strowman lose something like this, even when it's just so out of left field as a swamp fight, right? Swamp fight,
Swamp match.
whatever it's called, biscuits and gravy match. I don't know what it's called, but
They made me a man.
I am going to go with Braun Strowman by like nefarious means, where like he like shoves him into a burning building or something, and that is the full like the swamp cult figure. Bray Wyatt is dead, and now we have Firefly Funhouse in the Fiend. So this will probably be like a love letter, but a send off for that character.
Now,
So, Braun
could the
Strowman.
burning building could it be set on fire by Randy Orton, a la last time a burning building happened?
I imagine it'll still be in ashes,
Mhm.
but like they just use something like ridiculous off of, I don't know, the Florida, I assume, highway it's off of, or wherever. So
Maybe
Braun Strowman.
maybe since it's in Florida, maybe they'll all catch coronavirus and the match won't happen.
Yeah.
But Dante, your thoughts on the swamp fight?
Billy said something that kind of makes a lot of sense. This would be a really good send off for like the swamp version of Bray Wyatt. I think this could lead to something kind of crazy, like Billy said, throwing him into a burning building or throwing him with alligators or some weird shit like that. I think that's how this match has to end. But I think the purpose of it is to kill off the old Bray Wyatt character and make the Fiend even more unhinged, if that's what you want to do. I think that's probably where they're going to take it. I do agree, though. I don't think Braun Strowman should win in any capacity, especially when his championship reign seems so flimsy at best. I think you can't afford to kind of make it that obvious that he shouldn't be in a main title picture with Bray Wyatt. So I think he does need to win. I'm going to take Braun Strowman to win, like Billy said, in nefarious means through some sort of WWE style murder.
All right. Neil, what do you think? Good point.
I think we're still going to see Braun versus The Fiend. So I'm wondering, how do we get to that match? Does Swamp Man Bray Wyatt need to win this one? I don't think so. So I'm going to go with Braun. And I think, what do you guys consider Bray Wyatt? Do you think he's more of a babyface or a heel?
Oh, he's definitely a heel. I think he's a heel.
He's meant to be a heel, yeah.
Meant to be a heel, but I definitely have liked the Fiend character a lot.
Yeah.
But this, I think, if Bray Wyatt wins this, I forgot what I was going to say. Braun Strowman's going to win this match, but that's just going to piss off the Fiend even more. And I cannot wait to see the Fiend come back, because I feel like we haven't seen the Fiend in a while.
Yeah, not since Mania.
Okay, before I get my prediction, here's my question. Will the overall ever, now I'm talking way into the future here, will the overall narrative and the storyline of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend and everything else ever make complete sense? Like as a whole, like as a timeline, will they ever bring it all together and we'll go like, oh, that all made sense?
No.
Is it supposed to? Because as far as I'm concerned, we're talking about an unpredictable character, someone who always keeps you guessing, always does something. Why does someone climb Mount Everest? Because it's there, right? Why does the Fiend do what he does? Because he can. And he's smart. He's smart, but that's how you get inside someone's head. You do something unpredictable.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, you never really want to complete the circle on that kind of thing, because once you do, the story's done.
That's true.
So I think he needs to stay unpredictable. He needs to stay crazy and unhinged and all that stuff. So hopefully we don't really find the complete circle. Hopefully it never makes fully sense, but we'll always want to know why. And I think that's the important thing to want.
Well, the thing I really want to know is what's in Shane McMahon's lockbox, but we'll never know that either.
Yeah. The hell is in that lockbox?
I really want to know because that's the reason Shane McMahon came back. Like, come on.
It's the financials for the XFL.
It's the Vincent J. McMahon Legacy Award that he stole from Stephanie from his debut.
That's good. I like
they
that.
just never gave her back.
He just took it and ran's gonna sit and collecting dust next to the greatest in the world trophy or whatever, best in the world.
Yeah.
All right, my
Reigning
prediction.
best in the world.
I'm going to go a different direction. I think Bray Wyatt wins this match, and that's how he gets a title match for SummerSlam, where he might actually take the strap from Braun Strowman. So I'm going to go with Bray Wyatt in this one. I'm super excited for this match. I think it's going to be a cinematic experience, as I said earlier, and I think it's going to be tons of fun for everyone.
Right, yeah. And I don't mean to talk you out of it, but like, are you really just going to have Braun Strowman only feud with Bray Wyatt for his title? I mean, to me, it just doesn't sound like something that they would do if they really want to establish Braun Strowman as a star. And if he was a transitional champion in the first place, why did Goldberg take the friggin' thing off the Fiend in the first place? You know? It just, to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of storyline sense. But I like where you're going with it. Stick with it. Don't let me talk you out of it.
Okay.
Don't let me tell you how to live your life. You live your life.
All right, I'll do that.
That does bring up
Gabe.
one point, though. That does bring up one point to me, though. When you look at SmackDown as a whole, is there anyone else in that show that you can realistically see challenging Braun Strowman for the title right now? Anybody?
On
Jeff
SmackDown?
Hardy ladder match. Or Sheamus, I don't know.
That's the problem.
There's nobody. Like, I mean, they might have to stick with Bray and Braun for the next 6 months.
Let me see.
Swamp Bray and Mr. Rogers Bray and The Fiend and all those guys.
Maybe Sheamus. I don't know.
Sister Abigail.
Baron Corbin.
Will we ever find out?
Yes, Baron
Exactly.
Corbin. I'm glad somebody said it. Finally, we
With
get some respect
Otis.
for the king.
With Otis holding Money in the Bank, that doesn't make things any easier.
He still has it, doesn't he? I forgot about that.
He does.
Wow.
Could he cash in on the Swamp match?
I don't know a lot about Otis, but I think he knows his way around the swamp.
Yeah, this is it. This is his time, brother. He just sneaks a referee in, just Braun Strowman's just like laid out after just winning this match, just quick lays down, 1, 2, 3, grabs his hand, grabs the title, and leaves. Anytime, any place.
Thing, and he dips.
I think that if you're gonna have Money in the Bank, if you're gonna have Money in the Bank in this kind of world that we live in with a bunch of cinematic matches, you gotta have him cash in during a cinematic match.
Mm-hmm.
That I think if they get all the way down to let's say that this is the last pay-per-view before they let fans back in. Not this particular one, but like another one. If that happens, the last cinematic match has to have Otis just running away with a title belt and a ham because I like his ham. I think it's fun. I like him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I could definitely see that in a cinematic match. But what should be the main event of the evening, I always love a main event with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And, I mean, McIntyre's going to win, right? I mean, come on. Like, he's going to win.
Dolph Ziggler is the official sacrificial lamb of WWE championship matches.
And
the only thing to think about here is what is the stipulation going to be?
Yep.
And
which at this point, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the stipulation is.
I hope
Dolph Ziggler is going to win this match with his new split-legged moonsault DDT combination that he will turn into an Indian Deathlock and will pin and will win by submission in 20 seconds. I am just kidding. Drew McIntyre's going to win.
Oh yeah, Drew McIntyre's going to win. I I think it's going to be a good match. I think that Ziggler's always great at selling, so he'll make McIntyre look like $1 million in this one. What kind of stipulation were you guys thinking? Like, what do you think they could do?
No Claymores.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
That
for
would
them
be
to
something
wait
that-
this long to say what the stipulation is, it's got to be something off the wall and really one-sided. It can't be like, last man standing. We waited till Sunday for this.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. It'll be something that gives Dolph the advantage. I don't know what that'll be though. That no Claymores. That's an idea there, Billy.
What is question? Does anybody know? I don't know if anyone knows this. What is Drew McIntyre's mom's name?
I don't know.
Because
Don't know.
You know
you could do McIntyre's mom on a forklift match.
what?
You don't remember Judy Bagwell on a forklift match?
Yeah, Judy Bagwell on a forklift.
Amazing.
Believe it or
I'm
not,
gonna have
that
to watch that
believe it
match
or not-
tonight.
I mean, believe it or not, that match is actually pretty good. The stip is stupid as hell, but like the match is fine.
Yeah, I agree. It's not a bad match. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So I think we're all agreeing that McIntyre's going to win. I mean, McIntyre needs to see an audience. He needs to be champion in front of a live crowd. And I don't think they're going to take it off him until he gets his chance to be in front of a live crowd.
If I do have to predict a match stipulation, though, for real, I'm going to guess a ladder match.
Okay. For some reason I thought you were going to say Aladdin match, but I have
Flying
no idea
carpet.
why.
I can show you the world.
It's a magic carpet
I don't know if that's-
match.
Is that Aladdin?
I think
Yes,
so. You're right.
it is Aladdin.
Big pop.
So we did forget one more match, Gabe.
We did?
It has not been fully announced, but I assume it'll be announced on SmackDown because, spoiler alert, we record this on Thursdays, or on a Thursday, I should say. But the one match that was left out that we should just have in for predictions is Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in a barroom brawl.
That's
'Cause they've
true.
been
I forgot
using
about
on
that.
SmackDown. So I'm just gonna jump straight into that, and I'm gonna hand it over to you, Gabe. Who would you have win that match?
I think you got to go Jeff Hardy because I think you need to have him come out on top, and I think this feud has taken a turn for the worse. So I think you need to have Jeff Hardy come out top and face his demons and beat Sheamus in this way, and then move both of them on.
I'm going to have to agree with you there, Gabe. Let's say this match is happening, I'm going to have to go with Hardy. And is this the first ever barroom brawl match? It's been in the games. When was the last time you saw a barroom brawl match in WWE?
They so there was
Been a while.
there was a match that I believe it was at the SummerSlam that was in Minneapolis where they fought into the bar across the street from Target Center. So they have fought in bars
like
before.
Hands or whatever it is.
Yeah.
O'Shaughnessy's.
Yeah. Shaq Hennessy's, yeah. Yeah, so I think that's the closest thing we've had to it. But yeah, I definitely gotta go with
Gabe, to
Hardy.
cut you off, sorry.
Oh, go
Cut
ahead.
you off, sorry. I just looked it up. It was Big Boss Man versus Al Snow
That's right.
in a match for the hardcore title. And yes, they did brawl across the street. And yes, it did have Jesse Ventura in that show.
Yes, they did.
God bless him.
And so
Definitely.
Dante, your pick for the Sheamus Hardy match.
I'm going with Hardy mainly because it would be odd for WWE to do this whole redemption setup for Jeff Hardy only to have him lose. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to do something like this, but I just don't. I don't see it happening. I'm going to take Hardy safely. Hopefully, it leads to bigger things for him. I don't know if that means him and AJ for the Intercontinental title. That'd be cool, or maybe have him move for the Universal. But I think Jeff Hardy deserves something a little bit more.
Yep. I would say Billy, but it looks like Billy is not present right now. But there
We'll
he
mark
is.
him down for
Yeah.
Sheamus.
Yeah, sure.
No, Jeff. Sorry, I'm looking something up. Yeah. So Jeff Hardy, please.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Jeff Hardy should be taking this one. So that's the end of our.
We skipped the SmackDown Women's title.
Oh, we did?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Bailey versus
and Nikki.
Yeah, I think Bailey takes this one. One of them's got to have a title that they got to fight for something eventually. So I don't think it's Nikki Cross's night.
Yep. Real quick here, I'll also do Bailey.
Dante?
Yep. I'll take Bailey.
And Billy?
Yep, same.
All right. Great analysis, guys. No, I'm kidding. But
We deserve that.
yeah. So moving forward, that's kind of a look at Extreme Rules, the horror show. I know Dante's expecting a lot. What are your overall expectations for the pay-per-view? Let's start with Billy. Like a mid-tier pay-per-view? Are you expecting something great, or what do you think?
I've got zero expectations, and the reason for that is because I went into WrestleMania with zero expectations, and I just ate it up. I loved it. Right. Of course, not everything was, the greatest thing I've ever seen, but pretty damn good, right? So I am going to keep my quarantine wrestling mindset the same, where I have no expectation. I'm just going to sit down, watch some wrestling, and if I'm entertained, great. If not, well, it's, it can't be that bad.
Yeah. Neil, your expectations for Extreme Rules?
I think WWE is getting really good at this performance center pay-per-view stuff. So I think this will be the best pay-per-view so far in 2020 for WWE. And I did want to mention that I do think the match of the night will be the Wyatt Swamp fight match of the night.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it could be really cool as well. Or McIntyre versus Ziggler, depending on the stipulation, that could be really good as well. But we like to do on our podcast, we kind of like to do a big kind of question of the week, or maybe we'll find a better word for that. And this one comes compliments of Billy. What is your favorite stipulation or least favorite stipulation for a match? And we'll start with favorite. Let's start with you, Neil.
Favorite stipulation? I'm going to have to go TLC. There's been a lot of TLC matches, but there's been a lot of classic TLC matches. You go back to the first few TLC matches with the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. Those are some of the best matches that I should have mentioned last week as some of my favorite matches of all time. Those TLC matches are insane. And then, tables, ladders, chairs. What else do you need? It's a great match.
Stairs, that's what you need. According to 2014, you need stairs.
Stairs, good call.
Dante, your favorite match stipulation?
I'm probably going to basically take what Neil said, but probably simplify a little bit. Just give me the ladders. Just the ladders. I've never seen a bad ladder match. There's never been a time that I've seen a ladder match advertised that wasn't at least decent, just because of the train wreck nature of the match. So for me, it's ladder. It's always been ladder.
Ladder. Billy.
Let me know if this counts. If it doesn't, I'll go with another one. But I love the Royal Rumble. There is just so much possibilities in a Royal Rumble match for anything to happen. I mean, you can see surprise returns, you can see surprise exits, you can see surprise, marathon. The marathon people, people who are in there for the longest. So I love me a Royal Rumble. If we're going for a classic stip, good old fashioned Hell in a Cell, because it's just when done right, it's just absolutely brutal. And I also love watching in WrestleMania 32, because I was there. I saw Shane jump off that height, and it was super, super cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that memory is stuck in my mind. If they do it right, and to be honest with you, maybe they can play it a little bit, but I'm not going to tell a wrestler to put their bodies on the line like that. But Hell in a Cell or the Royal Rumble, mainly the Royal Rumble.
I would say for me, kind of like Dante, I'm going to go with the ladder match. I mean, I said last week one of my favorite matches of all time was the North American Championship ladder match at NXT New Orleans, and that just absolutely blew me away. So I would go with ladder match on this one. Also, Neil, you were talking about TLC. you got to also mention WeLC, because that's actually a really good match. Like, it's legitimately fun. Like, it's a really
5 stars.
It's really good. Like, I looked through, I actually went back on the network and found the pre-show, found the match and rewatched it. It's really good.
Wait, it was on the pre-show?
Yeah, it was on the pre-show.
What?
Yeah, that was
That should
not
have been the main event.
That was not the main card.
It was pretty damn tasteless, but I'll be damned if it wasn't the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
Okay,
I mean, it was a good match between two solid competitors and El Torito and Hornswoggle with everyone backing them up and stuff. But like, it's a little tasteless.
Crash.
The small people announcers, that was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at that.
Another match I need to go watch before the next episode.
Yeah,
it was pretty tasteless, but tasteless. But I'll be honest, that match blew everyone away because they just tore the house down for the pre-show. They got that crowd hot, brother.
Here's the thing.
Hot.
Yes, sir.
It's a 5-year-old, maybe even older than that, pre-show match that we remember. That's something.
Yeah.
That's something. The other ones that comes to mind about pre-show matches I remember is, because of how bad it was the one where Breezango were sunburnt or something. And does anybody else remember this match? So
it's like the Golden Truth or whatever.
Yeah, I guess the Golden Truth. So they were sunburnt, and so they had skin peeling off and stuff during the match.
So that's your number 2 most memorable pre-show match.
That would be number 2.
Says
yes.
A lot.
I remember in college, Gabe, you loved the Golden Truth theme. You would just
want
walk
it.
down
You
the
got
hall.
it. The Golden Truth.
You got it. The Golden Truth.
Oh, it was great.
What's up?
I love everything R-Truth. I love R-Truth. He should have won a capital punishment. That's here nor there. But he should have. It should have been R-Truth versus The Rock at Mania.
It should have been me.
Dream match.
All the little Jimmies didn't let it happen. All right, now we'll go with worst match stipulation. Start with you, Neil. Or least favorite.
Oh man, you put me on the spot. There's so many bad ones. I'm gonna go. My least favorite, honestly, is like the Buried Alive. I don't know if I like that one that much. It's kind of boring, and that also goes back to me playing the video games. I never really enjoyed the Buried Alive matches on the games. It's a cool little gimmick for the Undertaker to have. He's got a few different gimmick stipulations, like the casket match and that, but Buried Alive has always been kind of corny. I mean, if we're talking like stupid stipulations, it's got to be like eye for an eye, number 1, Buried Alive, number 2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know how eye for an eye is going to work. Dante?
Originally I was going to say Lumberjack, because that match is always just meant to be just a cluster with just an ugly finish that's going to be trash always. But Neil, you brought up something that kind of is a good point. All Undertaker gimmick matches are bad matches. So I'm going to go instead with the casket match. That's an awful match. It's a stupid match that makes no sense. And I refuse to accept it anymore now that Take is retired.
Who was the guy in Saudi Arabia? Was it Rusev that?
Yeah.
Oh my
randomly.
God. Was it something with Chris Jericho was supposed to be in that match? I don't remember.
Yep. Yeah. And then they took him out, and then they put him back in the Royal Rumble, the greatest Royal Rumble.
Man, that might be my least favorite, the greatest Royal Rumble. Anyway.
You had to be there. You had to be in Saudi for that one. But let's go to Billy. Least favorite match stipulation.
I am so glad you came to me last, because I have a spicy one, because this is a stipulation for whatever reason people seem to enjoy. I hate a tables match. I despise it.
Yeah, they are pretty dumb.
You have when you beat a wrestler 1-on-1, you pin them in the mat 1, 2, 3. You made them submit. You made them get counted out. Whatever.
Yeah,
You've definitively beaten them.
Winning.
Yeah, right. All you've proven in a tables match is that you can use one weapon, right? And it doesn't even have to be clean. Like, remember when Cody Rhodes and Big Show faced off in a tables match, Cody kicks Big Show off the apron. He trips. One foot goes through a table because he's over 300 pounds. Those tables are gimmicks anyway, so a feather's going to bring those things down. He just tapped it with his foot. It collapsed, and that's technically a win. That match is lame. It is such a bad stip. It doesn't prove anything. There's no payoff. It's just all you've proven is that you can use a weapon. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, the Natalya Ruby Riott tables match from a couple years ago.
Well, it's not even. Yeah, it's like and like I get that too. It's like, but the only thing that's etched in my head when it comes to a tables match is Cody Rhodes versus the Big Show, and Big Show accidentally stepping on a table and breaking it. Technically counts. Put him through a table. Still stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you, Billy. Because I also remember that it was like Cena and Sheamus for the WWE Championship. And Cena beat the hell out of Sheamus for like the whole match. But at the top rope, he slipped and fell through the table. So he lost the championship. It's like, what the fuck?
It's a shameful thing. Yeah, right.
Yes.
All right, now we'll go with me. There's a couple. Of course, the Kennel from Hell match with the dogs. That was
more concerned with pissing and shitting on the floor than they were with being ferocious.
I mean, kind of things like what dogs do. Also, shark cage matches, stupid, because the guy's always going to get out of the cage. There's no reason to even have him there. No reason to have him in the shark cage.
How you doing?
It's almost as bad as a scaffold match where
that was my next one.
Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your
No.
from you.
You're good.
So I'm going to say I completely agree with you on that because you got two dudes that can barely balance on this thing because it's like a foot wide, and you're going to have them do like actual wrestling moves on each other. It's basically just joust on American Gladiators.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference? Just give them two giant Q-tips and let them duke it out. What's the difference?
Yeah. So that's my second worst is the scaffolding match, but my least favorite is the Judy Bagwell on a forklift match, baby. Why is she on a forklift?
I don't know, but that match was good. I will say that. That match was good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just anything on a pole match is pretty stupid. Who was famous for that? Vince Russo. Bro, it was a great idea, bro. It was going to work.
I think my favorite pole match had to be the San Francisco 49ers match where you had 4 boxes and you had to bring them down. One of them had a picture of Scott Hall, and on the very last one, Booker T grabs the box and the title falls out of the box. And the stagehand has to pick it up and hand it to him.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, there have been some bad matches in WWE and WCW, and thankfully the Judy Bagwell on a forklift match did not catch on, so we do not have it much. Oh, also, and I've seen this match from, and I've seen only one of them on YouTube. This match from some of the death matches from Japan and stuff, like the Piranha match. That's pretty bad. Have you ever seen a Piranha match?
I have not seen that one yet.
I feel like I have a line when it comes to hardcore wrestling. Like if there's, and I don't mean to sound all Jim Cornette, okay, boomer on this, but eventually you're just getting super ridiculous. Like when you tie up Abdullah the Butcher and you put him in an electric chair. Why? Why? It serves no purpose. Yeah, sure. Fans bring the weapons, use light tubes, whatever, do what you want. I'm not going to disrespect any wrestler that does that because, God forbid, they're putting their body on the line to put on a great show and people enjoy it. You can have your deathmatch wrestling. That's fine. But there just comes a point where you're just like, why? Why is this man getting electrocuted? Why are they in a pool full of piranhas? Why did Baron Corbin just throw this man off of a skyscraper? It just I understand how kayfabe works, and I don't mean to be to gatekeep my wrestling, but my God, just less is more sometimes. less is more.
No, I agree. I'm actually on YouTube on another tab watching a Piranha death match right now, and it is brutal. It is brutal.
Do you think that's in Superhuman's feature? Like a Piranha death match?
Oh my gosh, they're like jumping at this guy's face. This is awful. Oh, this is awful.
You're gonna have to send me a link to that after the
I
show.
will. It's
just put that in the group chat, actually.
Okay, we'll do.
Right?
It's from 1996. It's a Piranha death match. And it is not very shallow. It's not very deep water, so the piranhas have very good access to the guy's face. And there is a lot of oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on, moving forward. So we like to end the show as a
wait, hang on. What did you just? Oh my gosh, man.
I was watching the Piranha death match, and there was a lot of blood. A lot of blood. But anyway, we like to do a thing called what are we calling it? The last shot.
The last shot, baby.
The last shot, where we go on a 30 to 20 second kind of spiel or promo almost, or hot take.
Brother.
Yeah, a shoot promo of something from wrestling. Who wants to go first? No one. No one wants to go first.
You might want to edit that out. Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
So we're gonna get a little bit local, all of us Minnesota boys. So I'm gonna rep for a Minnesotan wrestler in particular here. Molly Holly needs to be a WWE Hall of Famer. There is no excuse why she is not in the Hall already. She is a multiple-time women's champion. She helped Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix. She paid her tuition so she could chase her dream of being a professional wrestler. In one of the WrestleManias, she literally she pitched to creative to have her head shaved against Victoria to get the women's title on WrestleMania. If we're talking about women's evolution, we're talking about someone who revolutionized women's wrestling. It's Molly Holly, and she deserves to be a Hall of Famer.
Very good. Very good. I would agree. Dante, you got one?
Do I have one? Yeah, I got a little something I can shoot on.
Go for it.
It's basically about enjoyment of wrestling. So during today's quarantine life, the style of wrestling is different. There's not a lot of fans in the inside of the buildings, and thus the matches do tend to suffer. I think with that, though, you need to accept the quality of the entertainment that we are getting. Things like Extreme Rules do have their positives. I think cinematic matches are special. They're going to be something that one day we're going to begin to miss. I think we need to appreciate them now while we can get them, even though Eye for an Eye may seem very corny. Trust me, you're going to be telling your kids about it someday.
All right. Neil, you got one?
That's a shoot, brother.
Yeah, I got one.
All right, go ahead.
Fuck Sami Zayn.
Why?
Care to expand on
much,
that?
He does so. I understand this is your time, but man, he does so much good for the world, and he's just such a good wrestler. And I'll fight this. I'll fight you on this until the day I die.
I've spoken.
It always boils down to his hat, doesn't it?
It's that fucking hat.
All right. I'll go with mine. I do not like Luchasaurus. I like his moveset, but I think his mask looks stupid. I think it looks childish. It looks like a mask that you could get at Party City, USA, or Party City, I should say. And I don't like Jurassic Express whatsoever. I don't think they should ever sniff the World Tag Team Championships. And I just think the mask looks stupid.
I was actually going to say... Fuck Jurassic Express also. Marco Stunt is a very dangerous wrestler. You see that Canadian Destroyer he did last night to Matt Jackson? He could have killed that man, and he was just recklessly flipping and flying around because he's this little guy, and he is dangerous. Watch out for Marco Stunt.
It's not so much against Jungle Boy. I think that the mask is not good. It's not good. He needs a new mask.
Fuck Luchasaurus.
Fuck Jurassic Express.
So if he had a new mask, you'd be okay with him then. Is that correct?
Yes. He just needs a new mask.
Okay. I love I don't know what the hell any of you are watching, but I love Jurassic Express. You have three guys that can really do some shiny moves, especially a guy like Jungle Boy. I love watching him work. Big fan of Luchasaurus. I don't know. The jury's out on Marco Stunt for me. I haven't really seen enough of his work to really understand it, but I think it's cool. And also, they got some great merch, dude. Like they have that A Boy and a Dinosaur shirt that looks like Super Mario 3 or Super Mario World, I should say. They have great merch. Respect. Put some respect on the name.
Okay.
They're 65 million years old. For God's sake.
My rant is more about the mask. I don't like the mask. I'm sure he's a great in-ring worker.
Okay.
I just don't like the mask.
I don't like how he dyes his tongue either. That's weird.
I agree with that.
Maybe it's just green mist.
That's true. Could be green mist. And I got nothing wrong with Jungle Boy either. I just don't like the mask. Or the Son of the Mask. That's a bad movie, too.
I don't like Marco Stunt either.
Yeah. Yeah, Jurassic Express, thumbs down, at least, in for the most part. But that's all we have for today's episode. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to mention, or before we go dark? Nope, I guess not. Well,
enjoy the horror show.
Yeah, enjoy the horror show
and keep watching wrestling. We're gonna get some good stuff. Dante's got me all excited now. I'm hyped.
I am too, and that has been Ringsiders. Enjoy the horror show.